Hi friends, it's Aaron Fragnito, your host of the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. Today we have a special snippet from a past episode I did with one of my friends, Martin Chera. Marty is one of the owners of Express Capital Financing, and he's been investing in the real estate market for decades. Marty and I discuss a number of topics in this snippet here. It's about a 13-minute snippet I really wanted to bring to your attention. We discussed foreclosures in this current market and why it's very different than what was actually happening in 2008 to 2012 there. We also talk about the job market and again, why it's actually a completely different job market than what we saw in the Great Recession. We're also talking about timing the market, or actually time in the market. As the old saying goes, don't try to time the market, it's about time in the market. So we break that down, and also selling your real estate. Why I like to never sell my real estate, and why I regret selling the hundreds of properties I've sold through my career, and why I wish I just held on to those assets. So we kind of break into that here through this nice short snippet. Hope you enjoy this episode of the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. And remember, if you're enjoying this content, please leave a review, like and subscribe, and share with your friends. We'd love to spread the word on helping people build passive wealth in real estate so they can enjoy their life to the fullest, because that's what life is all about. Enjoy.
I mean, what do you see the statistics on foreclosures right now? Can I see it increasing? I just forgot the percentage-wise. Do you have any idea what it is?
Off the top of my head, I don't know that number. It's not like incredibly scary though. It's ticking up. There's definitely more foreclosures. The foreclosure process in New Jersey, at least, is like a 2 to 3 year process in reality. So, they say it's 1 year, but I never see them get done in 1 year. So it's kind of a slow process. There's a lot of opportunities to fix the problem along the way, sell the property, renegotiate with your lender, loan modification. So banks want to avoid foreclosure for the most part, as you know. And so I do think that it's not like that tsunami of foreclosures we saw in 2012, 2013 that led to a serious continued really it was from like 2009 to like 2014 or so, just foreclosure after foreclosure after foreclosure. I don't see that happening. The statistics don't really look like that either. I know bankruptcies are ticking up. I know foreclosures are ticking up. But we just gained 30% of home value in the last 2 years, 2.5 years or so. So, one of the big problems back then was you didn't have equity in your property. So if you fell behind on your mortgage, you lost your job, whatever the scenario was, you couldn't sell your property. You had to do a short sale, and short sales took 9 months back then. And a lot of realtors didn't know how to do it, which allowed me to sneak into the market and learn a niche and just crushed it. And, but you couldn't sell your property. You had to do a short sale. It slowed down the market. It causes additional headaches. Now you're in foreclosure, but you have equity in your home. You call People's Capital Group, we come and buy your property, bada bing, bada boom, you're out of foreclosure, right? At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com.
Yep, somebody's pain is somebody's gain.
Yeah, that too. But when you have equity in your property, you're going to sell it. If you're in foreclosure, you're going to take your cash. You're going to go rent a property. You're going to go rent one of our apartments.
And at least you're giving them some, a cash offer versus a short sale or a foreclosure, hurting their credit and having, a negative equity. So,
so
that's where it helps.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the main difference, right? If you're in foreclosure now, but you have equity in your home because you've owned it for at least 2 years or so, even a year, you should have equity. Then you're just gonna sell it. You're gonna, maybe you lose a few bucks, you break even, you pay the realtor, but at the end of the day, you're gonna walk away with a little cash and move on. When you have negative equity, that's when people start living in their homes for 3 years, not taking care of them, whatever, and and they'd say, screw it, a home's worth $300,000, I owe $400,000. I'm not paying $100 to the bank, and I'm not getting stuck with the difference. I'm just going to live here as long as I can and not cooperate with anyone, because you're in a really tough spot. And that's where we ran into all those problems and foreclosures. And we are nowhere near that right now.
Nowhere near that. But also just my thoughts are, Aaron, is that the foreclosure increase, again, my thoughts is because of the backlog from this pandemic of 2020 and 2021. So I think the courts opened up in early 2022, if I'm correct. Right?
But that's a good point. The courts are very backed up.
Finally hitting the market now. Like I said, it's about 2 years for Jersey. So whatever we're seeing now in late 2022 and 23 is because of 2020 and 2021. So, However, there's going to always be people in distress, whether they just can't afford the mortgage, they didn't anticipate something happening, divorce or death or whatever it may be, and that's going to cause somehow more properties to come up, whether it's foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, or just a distressed property.
Yeah. And jobs, right? Jobs are so important. In 2009, if you got fired and you were underwater with your home, you really couldn't find often the matching job. Maybe you're making $100,000 a year in a white collar position. A lot of those people ended up going and flipping burgers for a few years, and those were the scary stories that everyone, couldn't sleep at night because they said, well, shit, my neighbor is flipping burgers at McDonald's. He was, the CPA at a Fortune 500, or, those scary stories. Now, you get fired from your job, you're probably going to go get a job that pays you more money, and it's the great migration, right now. I talk to my friends, if they're not happy where they're working, they're going and finding a job for better pay, better benefits. It's incredible, so that's a very different scenario too than we saw in the last Great Recession there. And that's going to obviously really help us move, I think, forward through this without a huge hit. Now, are you seeing on your side the appetite for borrowing? Is that slowing down a bit?
Am I seeing the appetite for borrowers? It's 50-50. This is all an emotional game right now. If you have to have that mindset that the rates are what they are, whether you're going to a bank, a debt service lender, wherever you're going, the rates are what they are. And if the deal still makes sense and you're still cash flowing somehow, then why not do it? Because in 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, when the rates go back to normality, your cap rates will be better, your cash flow will be better, and when your values of the property go up in that 2 or 3 years, you're going to cash out again. So you're going to have a few advantageous points of a lower rate, cash out more, and a better NOI. So to me, it's a no-brainer. However, people are feeling 50%, I'm going to wait. I tell them, hey, do you want to be 50% of waiting, and you could be 100%, it's going nowhere but the same, or you could be 50% where it's going down. So it could go three ways. It could stay, what do you call that word? Status quo. It can go higher and it can go lower. But the people that want to wait, they're just, so real estate, you have to buy real estate and wait. You don't wait to buy real estate.
That's nice. I literally said that to 2 people already today. So thank you.
That's agreed.
Not to you.
And I heard a famous quote also, you got to spend time in the market. You don't time the market. You spend time in the market. So you're ready, spend time in it, start shopping, looking over the neighborhoods, the comps, the statistics, the schools, the taxes, study the market so you could be, ready to go, whether it's your first deal or your 100th deal.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember speaking with an appraiser at a property in 2016, and he said, sell all your property this year. It's going to drop next year. Forget it. Drop. Next year is done. Spoke to another appraiser, or I think it was a broker in 2018. He was saying, sell it all now. It's destined to drop heavy next year. Forget it. Pandemic came, right? Get rid of your inventory. Real estate's not worth it. You're gonna lose. It's gonna drop like a stone. Last year the same thing. It's just so they're always saying. I had an appraiser appraise one of my properties one time. He came in at $235,000. I wanted to rip the guy's head off. It was such a low appraisal. I sold the property a few months later for $450,000, and I wanted to call up that appraiser and send them the appraisal there. You're like, can I get your mailing address? I have something to mail you.
You should send him the before and after, your new numbers and his numbers.
Yeah, he's so wrong, So of course that buyer fell through. Actually, that was a refinance. I was trying to refinance the property, and then I ended up just selling it because the refinance appraisal didn't come in properly. So I'll just sell it, and I got $435 where he appraised at $235 or $450. I sold it for $450. He appraised it at $435. So just very, very frustrating. Just goes to show. And this guy was telling me he's the biggest appraiser in the state. He knows everyone. He knows everything. He knows what the future holds. He's the smartest guy in the room. And, I completely underpriced the property by like 50%. Just dope. So, and it's so interesting how you find so many people who really don't normally own a lot of real estate. Maybe they're going to sell it for you. Maybe they're going to appraise it for you, or work around, but they're telling you how to own your own real estate. And you're thinking like, man, if you were so good at owning assets and so successful, why are you the one working for me? And, so it's really interesting. You can always find someone who's a naysayer, always, a talking head who's going to tell you what you want to hear. The smartest thing I've done is not listen to those chickens without a head running around saying the sky is falling. And again, not waiting to buy real estate and wait. One time there's a building I was negotiating over $5,000. I wasn't going to do the deal. I was like, no, I need my $5,000 off. I didn't get the $5,000 off. I ended up doing it anyway. I was like pissed about it. That property appraised for $400,000 more than I bought it for, just about a year ago after owning for about 6 years. So that would have been so short-sighted to throw the deal away for over $5,000 to lose out on $400,000 of long-term equity growth over the next 4 or 5 years. So just a really incredible opportunity there. But it's so funny. You look back on real estate, you want to be long-sighted, not short-sighted whenever you're investing.
That's true. And you can look at any property, any city, any state, your street, your neighborhood, whatever it's worth today. If you go back 10 years, 15, 20 years, you'll see it was worth much less. So it always increases in value. You may have a tick in the market, but it always increases over time. It just never decreases and stays there,
Right.
And, and like stocks and bonds, it's, you could lose your money overnight, but with real estate, you may lose your money in a day, in a week, or in a month, only if you sell. But if you keep it, you'll never lose.
Yeah.
You'll never ever lose,
At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com.
Yeah, my attitude is never really sell. If we do sell, we're going to 1031 into a bigger property too. That's a good way to sell and defer all taxes, trade into a bigger property. That's a great tax tool to build your wealth exponentially in real estate. I have plenty of podcasts about that as well. But it's really, never sell is a great strategy. Seth and I always joke about how we wholesaled 100 properties in that 2018, period there. And we always say, wow, imagine we just held on to all those properties, went to a lender like yourself here, bought them, fixed them up, rented them out, refinanced back the money, and held on to them as rental income properties, and a lot of smaller, 2s and 3s and singles, but hey, it would have added up into, another 100 units. And it'd be worth probably about maybe, 100% more at this point. The growth since that time has been phenomenal. So, we cashed out nicely on plenty of those to get a quick fee. But, after pay the tax man and everything else, it's nice. But man, there's nothing like long-term wealth and cash flow, tax write-offs at the end of the year. Yeah, there's some management headaches, but we have a nice management company in place that allows us to own property much more easily and effectively. So it's really, what I've learned through the years is transacting real estate is nice and all, but if you just own it, buy real estate and wait, just manage the right way, own it. Don't even put a ton of money into it. Don't break the bank renovating it. Keep your renovation costs modest, update it as time goes on, as tenants move out, but just maintain the thing. Don't, put too much into it. But I've found some really, incredible wealth. Passive wealth is just the best feeling too.
As Mr. Wonderful says, cash flow. Cash flow. And that's what real estate is all about. Listen, my dad, may rest in peace, he always told me, he goes, never ever sell real estate, never. He was, he had quite a few properties and he was cash poor, but he had a lot of real estate. When I got married at 21, 22, he didn't have $1 to get me married. He had to sell one property to liquidate, and he did it. And he was sorry he did it because yes, he gave me, money to get married, but the other remaining money he blew it. And that's what he said. He goes, cash is good if you're investing it. Money should work for you, but just to have it $100,000 in your bank and it's doing nothing, and you're buying cars and boats, that's the most foolish thing any passive investor can do. Foolish.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to work for you, and how it works for you is cash flowing, and like you said, real estate increases in value over time.
Hey friends, if you're still listening to this episode of the Passive Cash Flow Podcast, then hopefully you've gained value from this episode. So I ask of you a couple things to help us build our network and reach more people and help them passively invest in real estate. See, our goal this year is to reach 10,000 more people, download our podcast here, help them improve their life and get a little more freedom in their life, a little more financial freedom to do the things they love. But to spread our word and help people build their wealth, we need you to do a few things. First of all, share this episode with someone who you think would gain value from our content. Also, leave a 5-star review on the platform you're listening to, maybe Apple iTunes or Spotify. Please leave a review for us, and we'd love to hear some of your feedback on guests and topics you'd like to hear as well. Also, like and subscribe on the podcast platform that you're listening to as well. If you're on YouTube, check out more of our content there. Again, our goal is to reach 10,000 new listeners this year, so share with a friend, like and subscribe, leave that 5-star review, and let's build our networks to the next level. Thank you, and enjoy your day.